Hello and welcome to Brandon Smith Rugby, and the Six Nations is done and dusted. And I thought it'd be really interesting to look back at the campaign and pick my team of the tournament, which are the 15 players who stood out the most over the course of the 5 rounds. What a Six Nations it was. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Currently, over 80% of you currently watching this video are not yet subscribed. Let's see if we can get a bit better than that. Hit the subscribe button down below. It's free to do and helps grow the channel. And as always, of course, let me know your team in the comments down below. I'll be reading every single one and replying to as many as I can. Let's kick off with the fullback. So let's start with the fullback. At fullback, I've gone with Stuart Hogg. Very, very impressive this tournament. 2 huge wins for Scotland as they won in Twickenham for the first time in an extremely long time. And then, of course, they beat France, didn't they? Last weekend, they beat them for the first time since 1999 away in Paris. He's become more of a leader, hasn't he? When he got the captaincy role, there's a few question marks over it, but he's certainly put in a shift this year. He scored 26 points over the course of the campaign, getting 1 try. And what's really impressed me as well is his defensive ability has certainly taken a step up with a 92% tackle success rate. Stuart Hogg is in at fullback for me. Let's move on to the 2 wingers then. I'm going to stick with Scotland. We're going to put Duhan van der Merwe into the squad. Very, very impressed by him, and maybe an outside shout for the Lions. Throughout this campaign, 4 tries for him, and of course, got that excellent winning try against France, didn't he, as they crossed over in the 84th minute. Very, very powerful, extremely comfortable with ball in hand. Defensively, a little bit questionable, and we'll need to work on that over the next few years as he moves to Worcester this summer, but certainly has put in an amazing performances across the course of this tournament. Let's move into the centres then, and I was struggling with this one quite a lot. I wasn't sure whether to put Gael Fickou into the team or go with Gary Ringrose, but I have decided to go with Gael Fickou. I think he's a very underrated player, and I don't think he gets the plaudits that he deserves. Solid, very solid defensively, isn't he? And going forward as well, he's a very decent player. But what's really impressed me again is the guy's leadership. This France squad is very young on the whole, and his leadership of standing out and counting when it's important has certainly been something that's come to the fore. So Gael Fickou goes in the centre for me. Who will join him at centre? Can only be one man. One of the form players of the tournament, Robbie Henshaw, goes into the centre. What's some amazing performances across the course of the tournament. His best performance, in my opinion, had to come against England. Wow, what performance from the Leinster man. In that game against England, some of the hits he was putting in, some of the reads that he was making during that game was absolutely amazing. And he really epitomised why Ireland won that game, because they matched England physically so much. Let's have a look at some of his stats from across the course of the tournament, just to give you an idea of how good he has been. He's played 5 games over the course of the tournament, scoring 1 try, making 100 metres from 61 runs. He's had 3 try assists during the course of the campaign, putting in 34 tackles, missing 5, and winning 1 turnover. So the guy is very much a player who is comfortable with ball in hand, but also defensively puts in a massive shift as well. And for me, he's got to start at centre for the Lions. Let's look at the next winger then, and it's got to be the Welshman, as Wales, of course, won the Six Nations, Louis Rees-Zammit, one of the most exciting prospects in world rugby. 4 tries this season and potential contender for try of the tournament for his try against Scotland. His second try, he kicked it and caught his own kick. Brilliant performance from the youngster. He seems to play without fear. He has that natural incentive and that natural ability just to get to the try line. He's absolutely brilliant at that. And what I really love about him is he backs himself 100% to make things. Nearly won it for Wales against France with that try in the corner, but couldn't quite get it in. But across the tournament, he's been absolutely brilliant. And for me, again, he's a real contender to start for the Lions. Moving on to the fly half position, one of the most important positions on the pitch, of course, and it was a very much a toss-up between 2 players, Mathieu Jalibert of France and Johnny Sexton of Ireland. Let's talk about Sexton first of all. Sexton has had a very good tournament. Proved a lot of people wrong. There's a lot of critics, a lot of criticism of him going into the tournament. Oh, he's too old. He's lost it. He's too injury prone. Well, this tournament, he's really proved a lot of people wrong. His kicking game, I think, has been outstanding and really epitomised in that game against Scotland, where Ireland played the territorial game so well. And the fact that he got so many important kicks as well, so many important penalties or conversions in this tournament shows a lot of bottle. And he'll really have given Gatland something to think of ahead of the Lions tour this summer. But I have decided to go with Matteo Jalibert. Of course, going into this tournament, he wouldn't have been the #1, but he was picked because of Untamac's injury. So it was a big opportunity for the Bordeaux man, and he absolutely took it. Going forward, there were some magical moments against England and his little chip over the top for Dupont's try against Wales. Creative, exciting going forward. Yes, defensively needs to shore up a little bit, but that France back line is looking scary, and he certainly was pivotal to it. So the final back in this team has got to be Antoine Dupont, in my opinion, the best 9 in the world and probably the best player in the world. Everything he touches seems to turn to gold, doesn't it? He's absolutely brilliant. Some of the support lines that he's offered across this tournament have been incredible. And he seems to just grasp the game by the scruff of the neck and just get on with it and makes things happen out of nothing. He scored against Italy, of course, scored a brilliant try against England as he kept control of the ball, offered a brilliant support line for Jalibert as he scored against Wales. The guy's been absolutely brilliant. The only teams who've really managed to keep him quiet are, you'd have to say, England to an extent, but Scotland mostly. Every other team has struggled with the impact of Antoine Dupont. This man is the best 9 in the world without a doubt. Let's see who gets into the forwards. So before we move on to the forwards, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you turn notifications on, and also get your team in the comments down below. Let's move straight to the forwards. Coming in at number 8, one of the nominees for the player of the tournament, it is Talupay Falateau. The Bath number 8 seems to have been back to his best over the course of this tournament. Someone who's been ravaged by injuries, and as a Wales fan, it's been so good to see him back. Carrying strong, powerful, confident with ball in hand and putting the shift defensively has been a massive thing to see from Talupay. Again, the line-out was a massive concern, but that seems to improve, and as a number 8, he has an important role in that. And the scrum as well seems to have been pretty solid. He's a player who has always shown so much promise, but injuries have hampered him a lot. But he seems to be back to his best. And that battle between him and CJ Stander for the Lions at 8 is going to be very interesting. So let's move on to the next person in the back row. Wearing number 7, for me, one of the players of the tournament, it's got to be Hamish of Scotland. Absolutely incredible across the course of the tournament. He's world class. He's absolutely world class, in my opinion. Carries well, tackles very well. But it's at the breakdown where he really shines. He's at the breakdown. He's causing chaos. He's turning the ball over or slowing it down illegally or legally, whichever way you want to look at it. But he's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant across this tournament. And he's really pushing Tipuric and the likes of Curry for that 7's jersey for the Lions. And everyone now is looking forward to the Lions after it's confirmed that it will, of course, take place this summer. But Hamish Watson, what a performance. Take a bow. And, of course, getting that kick to give them that win over England was massive. So heading into the number 6 jersey, it's going to be Josh Navidi for me, one of the most underrated players in world rugby, maybe a couple of years ago. Now people are beginning to wake up to how good this man can be. He seems to do a lot of the dirty work that you may not notice, but without him, you really do struggle as a team. He played 4 games across the course of the tournament, putting in 57 tackles, with a tackle success rate then of 92%. Is absolutely incredible for a man in his position. I was really impressed once again by his carrying and his impact at the scrum as well. So Josh Navidi goes in the team. In the number 5 then jersey, it can be only one man, Wynn Jones. Build the man a statue. Build the man a statue. He is that good. People writing him off, saying he should never even be considered to go on the line, saying he's not good enough. Absolute waffle, absolute rubbish. This guy is a legend, and he's still proving that he's capable of playing at this level week in, week out, and he's surpassing expectation. Wow. What a captain, what a leader. I have nothing else to say on him. He is simply that good. Who will partner him in the lock, though? It can be only one man from Ireland, Tag Byrne. Wow, the impact of this man at the breakdown cannot be underestimated. Over the course of the tournament, 9 turnovers won from him, and really against England, oh my word, he was such a pain in the arse for them, wasn't he? He just absolutely disrupted everything that England were trying to do. He's a brilliant option at the line-out, which Ireland set piece looked very strong over the course of the tournament, something historically that they always build off. And this guy is becoming a bit of a leader. Of course, plays for months. They lost the Pro 14 final yesterday, which will be very frustrating for them. But he's putting in absolute wonderful performances over the course of the tournament. And again, looking forward to the lines, which you have to do now. Guy, the breakdown, slowing that South African ball down is going to be key. So we're down to the final 3 players of my team. As always, make sure you're subscribed if you haven't done so already. Let's get into my front 3. So in the number 3 jersey, it's got to be Tadhg Furlong. If you can step the way Tadhg Furlong stepped against Scotland, I believe it was, then you deserve to be in my team. Was it Tommy Bone a disguise? That is the question I am asking. But not only that, again, his work in the loose is very, very impressive. But the scrummaging really stood up for Ireland over the course of the tournament and really epitomised again against Ireland. And there's a wonderful image of him celebrating that winning scrum that they got against England. Very powerful, very comfortable in the loose, puts in a heck of a shift. Brilliant, brilliant performances from him over the tournament. So who will join him in the front row? I've gone with Ken Owens of Wales. Absolute animal this man is. Came back from injury, had a lot of criticism over the last couple of years, but seems to be back to his best. We'll remember the line-out. The line-out was very shaky at the start, but it got better. The scrum got better. And the way this man carried the ball throughout the course of the tournament was really, really impressive. Powerful, dynamic, getting over the gain line. And also, what we're seeing with these Wales forwards now, they're getting more and more comfortable with ball in hand, which as Fullback has more time with the squad, implements his style more, we'll see a lot more of that. Very impressed by him, very impressed by his work ethic. He's a leader on the pitch as well. He's in hooker for me. And the final player then who fits into this team, I've gone with Wynn Jones, one of the unsung heroes for Wales over the course of the tournament. Man, what work he puts in at the breakdown. And you know what? He can take a red card as well against Scotland, which put us on our way to a Six Nations title. Again, scored a couple of really key tries for us against Scotland and scored against Ireland, I believe it was. And do you know what? He's working the loose once again. And the scrum, as I said, has really got much better over the course of the tournament. But there we go. That's my team of the tournament. As always, make sure to let me know down in the comments below who would you put in your tournaments. A couple of honourable mentions have to be put in. Of course, I think Ben Youngs for England had a very good tournament. I think Sexton is unlucky to miss out on this one. Jamie Ritchie of Scotland as well. You could look at the likes of Bigger for Wales at 10 as I put in a big shift over the course of the tournament as well. And a couple of the French boys, Olivon, you'd have to put the likes of Chat in there potentially as well. Hawass, who have all carried very well. So there's a lot of names who could have made this team. But as always, let me know in the comments down below who would you put in your team. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like the video. And I'll see you very, very soon here on Brandon Smith Rugby. Peace.